Welcome to the Holistic Growth Podcast, navigating business and natural health and functional medicine, where we bring you insights and strategies to help grow your practice and amplify your impact. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Holistic Growth Podcast, hosted and sponsored by Get Healthy Stores. I'm Dr. Tracey. I'll be your host today. And I am the Chief Health and Growth Officer right here at Get Healthy Stores, where we're innovating the way practitioners go to market with quality products. And today I have a very special guest. I'm sitting down with Dr. Vohn Watts. He's a doctor of chiropractic, also functional medicine practitioner, and the founder of Aegis Formulas. This is a company that's really doing something different in the supplement space. So today we're talking about what it really means to move beyond generic supplementation and into formulations that are built on foundational physiology, functional medicine principles, and real clinical needs. So, Dr. Vohn Watts, I thank you so much for being here. We finally got together. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, can you give us a little bit of background on you and maybe what is the origin and philosophy of Aegis?
Yeah. So in practice, I started as a chiropractor, and then as I moved into functional medicine, very quickly I found the gaps even in functional medicine that things were being missed, and then I developed this concept called foundational medicine, which I then termed foundational wellness, which is kind of the precursor work to functional medicine, meaning my belief system is that pretty much all disease is caused by one thing, and that's organ dysfunction. And organ dysfunction is caused by toxicity, whether that's parasites or heavy metals or pesticides and etc., or deficiency. We don't have the proper vitamins, minerals, and nutrients needed to even complete certain pathways, right? And so that kind of moved on. From there, I sold my practice. I kind of retired out of practice, went to work for another company, actually Cellcore Biosciences. I developed their number one selling kit is the foundational protocol, which is my protocol that I brought there. Many people know that company. Actually, my brother is the one that started that company, Dr. Todd Watts.
Yep.
And so, yeah, they're a great company. I want to do something a little bit different though. And when I launched Aegis, I I practice different than maybe some other doctors, but I wanted to be able to provide simpler solutions with the best absorption technology, as
Mhm.
well as I wanted when it was necessary, when they were able to, I wanted to kind of combine products so patients didn't have to take as many products. Because what I found is that when you get over 5 products, the patient compliance starts to dive. So as a practitioner, I'm having to pick and choose which products I'm going to put them on right now because there's other ones I wish I could put them on, but I know it's just going to be too much. And so that's what we've done. And like a perfect example, we have a product called Tudka Max. That is a true liver, gallbladder, and kidney drainage support, organ support product. So instead of having to get multiple products, it kind of makes sense. The liver and gallbladder work as one unit anyway. So I never really liked having to buy a liver support product and a gallbladder support product. So trying to simplify it makes it cheaper, it makes it more simplified, and then using the technologies that we use in our formulas, our absorption rate is pretty close to unmatched.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
that's super interesting. I mean, I know Cellcore. I love Cellcore as well. I do
Yeah.
find that it's a very specific client that you would use it for. It comes down to like, what can you do, what will you do, and what can you afford to do? And
Right.
sometimes I want them to use Cellcore, but the 4 phases and the cost and the compliancy and the duration, for some people, they just don't have that gumption. Like they'll do something, but it may not be
Right.
that extensive, or they may not be able to afford it. So when
Right.
you came on the scene, you brought this simpler notion that did increase compliancy with just as much effectiveness. So when you talk about positioning these products, comprehensive formulas, are you using them strategically and therapeutically, like within cleansing protocols, or is this something that people should be taking every day?
Yeah, like I both. I mean, depending on so they're not. I am not developing products necessarily just for detox, but some of the products that we develop are absolutely necessary if you're doing cleanses, like the liver and gallbladder. I mean, obviously you need good drainage if you're going to be detoxing. But no, it's when you look at the products, like for example, Tudka is a perfect product, perfect example. I use this example all the time. I specialize in thyroid. Whenever I'd have a patient come in, that thyroid patient, and one of the first questions I ask is, do you still have a thyroid? And if the answer is no, then it's like, I'm sorry, I can't really do a whole lot for you. You're going to have to be on thyroid meds. I mean, your body's not making the hormone. It's not even possible, right? And the gallbladder is a very common organ that's removed, but for some reason, doctors don't believe it is important. And it's very important, especially for digestion. Usually, if somebody gets their gallbladder removed, they're going to have digestive issues eventually, and especially when they're eating fatty meals and a number of things because you don't have that gallbladder. So with that example, I tell people if you don't have a gallbladder, whether it's my TUDCA or somebody else's TUDCA, you should be on a TUDCA. You should be on a bile acid the rest of your life. No different than if you removed your thyroid organ, you're going to have to be on thyroid medication, right? And so and then we've designed some other really cool products that are not for necessarily for cleansing whatsoever. Like some of our new, you've seen our strip technology.
Haven't yet. So that hasn't hit our stores yet. We're gonna have to get updates on our catalog.
Oh wow! So we developed these strips, and it's like a Listerine strip, goes right in your tongue,
Nice.
sticks to the roof of your mouth. We have two of them. We have Clear AF and Calm AF. And the clear has 8,000 IUs of vitamin D, like 180 milligrams or milligrams of K2. And then it has this unique protein. It's called GMI protein. It's a very specific protein from a very specific reishi mushroom out of Taiwan.
Mhm.
Has 30 years of research on cancer and autoimmunity and histamine. We use it. That is our major immune boosting support. But we have a lot of people that use that because it'll knock a histamine reaction out like pretty quick. So if somebody's having like seasonal allergies, whether it be itchy skin from food or allergy breakout histamine reaction, or whether it is an actual like ragweed or something, that strip in 10 minutes, you will calm those symptoms. They will be completely gone, and it doesn't make you tired, which is nice. And the nice thing too is you don't have to take allergy meds, which are now everybody's starting to find out causes Alzheimer's, dementia, all sorts of other horrible
Oh, yeah.
problems. So that's an example of one of our strips. But we have a number of different products that fall outside the detox space.
Yeah. And so unique delivery systems, right, also helps increase compliancy because then people don't feel like they're on supplements or
Right.
protocols, powders. But I love these strips. So the clear AF is more immune and the
That's
calm
immune. Yep.
is more histamine response.
No, the Calm is totally different.
Okay.
That's like an anxiety support product.
Okay.
There's two ingredients in it. One is called Zembrin and the other is Dynamite.
Mhm.
And they're both trademark ingredients because they're standardized, but really all they are, one of them is mango leaf extract and the other one is the kanna plant from South Africa. Both of them have lots of research on them, from having similar natural SSRI type effects, but what it does, it really does calm that nervous system. So somebody who's in the middle of having an anxiety attack or is just really amped up, stressed out, it'll bring you down in about 10, 15 minutes. Just
Wow.
calm you down.
I'm gonna have
Um,
to get a couple of containers.
they're amazing. Those are some of our people love them, and they also love them too because it's no pills or capsules. It's just a
Right.
little strip and you can take it and I mean, you're getting buccal absorption, so it's in the bloodstream and very quickly.
Wow.
And so that's why it kicks in so fast, but they're amazing products.
Well, without giving away all your proprietary information, tell me about this technology with your delivery systems. You said it shows up higher in levels. So,
Yeah. So what we have is depending on the product, and not every product can have, we try to put the best delivery system in the product based on what product we're creating. So we have our nano glut B, which is a nano liposomal glutathione. Um, why that's important is because as anybody understands, glutathione, you're not going to absorb glutathione if you just take regular glutathione. It's like less than 10% if you're lucky. But even with liposomal glutathione, you're still somewhere in that 25 to 40% absorption. Now, when you nanosize it and then wrap it in a liposome and in a glycerin base, now we're getting upwards of like 80 to 85, anywhere 65 to 80% absorption. So you're getting much bigger absorption. So we're using some nano. And when I say nano, some people get a little concerned, like, oh, nanobots? Like, no, no. Nano just means they take the ingredient, it goes through a sonicator, which just makes that basically breaks that ingredient down to a smaller size under 200 nanometers. And then it's wrapped in a liposome on top of that to help protect it through. And so we're using nano, we use liposomal, we use fulvic acid, which is a known driver. In some cases, we use multiple of those delivery systems in one. We use the strip buccal absorption technology. So we use a number of different absorption technologies, just depending on whether it's a powder, capsule, liquid, strip.
Awesome. Well, I know on your website you talk a lot about purity and potency. And what are some things that Aegis does beyond normal supplementation regulations? I know like good manufacturing practices, but what about your raw ingredient sourcing? What about your third-party checking of your materials? What do you do that's a little bit unique?
So we do third-party testing on all of our products, every single batch, and hopefully most companies do that. I know it's not necessarily required, but I hopefully in this day and age it's standard. But as far as I mean, I'll give you one story. NanoGlue V was our first product that we were going to launch. We were launching it with a pretty good big manufacturer, and we were at the 11th hour getting ready to place our first PO, the very first lot, our very first product, super excited. And it comes back and we're like, hey, you guys still have natural ingredients on here. We're very specific that if you put natural ingredients, you need to specify exactly what those ingredients are, because that's one of the big tricks in the manufacturing world. They'll say natural ingredients, and whenever it says natural ingredients on a product, that is a telltale sign that they are not natural. And the FDA guidelines are, they can have the essence of a natural ingredient. It's just a complete garbage, uh, very misleading. But if it says natural ingredients and it doesn't specify what those natural ingredients are on that label you're buying, you can guarantee 99.9% they're not natural. So here we are, 11th hour. We had to we had to pull it. We had to go get a whole new manufacturer because we wanted to ensure that whatever ingredients, whether it's a flavor, whether it's a natural ingredient, that it truly is, and that if it says natural ingredient, that it specifies from organic lemons. So we want to make sure that we're really forward with our ingredients. If you go on our website, we actually have like an ingredient library. So any ingredient on any of our products is all listed on there. So we try to be just as forward facing as much as we can with our ingredients. And then also, even with there's natural vitamins and minerals, but there are some certain vitamins and minerals that in different forms are much better and cleaner. And so we even ensure, those minerals and vitamins that we're getting the cleanest, best form and most absorbable form.
Yeah, and it does look like you use some patented ingredients too. Can you just explain to
Yeah.
our audience why that's important?
Yeah. The great thing about patent ingredients, they usually also have research to come behind it. Um, so we try to include ingredients that we do have some research, because for a lot of people, many people, they want to they don't want to just hear the amazing tales. They want to like be able to read the actual data. And when you're dealing with a trademarked ingredient, patent ingredient, all that really means is you can't patent a natural, you can't patent a natural ingredient like a plant, right? But what you can do is when you see a patented ingredient like Zembrin or Zynamite, when you're dealing with, mango leaf extract or the Kana plant, what it guarantees is that there's a specific percentage that is consistent with every single dose across the board. And so it kind of really specifies how much of that ingredient at what level, concentration, and then that is the same level every single time. And that's one of the benefits. They're more expensive to use, but as a somebody who develops products, you also want to make sure that you're having the same experience from lot to lot to lot, with that product, and that you don't get varying results. And so that's one way to make sure you're getting those good results, is that using those products that are guaranteed to be the same every time.
Absolutely. You want the replicatable turnout. right?
Yeah. And the purity. And you know it's coming from these reputable companies, it's coming from them specifically. So the purity is there. And so it
Yeah.
just lends to a cleaner, more effective product.
Yeah. So this podcast goes to practitioners, and a lot of practitioners are always looking for support, education. What do you offer over at Aegis that, education wise, events? How does that work for the practitioner?
Yeah, so we are new. We July this year we'll make 2 years. So last year was our first full year. We've done really well. Our products are have done really well. They're great results. But as far as education right now, we're building out kind of more the education platform right now for us. But I personally, I do a lot of one-on-one calls with docs because I'll sit down and go through and because it's different talking to a salesperson and sometimes just like, hey, I don't want to talk to the doc because like I want to know why and he put certain things in there, why you develop because I develop, our products and so I'm like when you talk to the guy who's actually developing the product, you get a much broader and better
Yeah.
comprehensive understanding, as well as I'll sit down and help. I've mentored a lot of docs in building out protocols or teaching them how to read through their blood panels and show, okay, this is when you would use this and this. So that's one of the big things I do. I love doing it. It keeps me fresh in the game. And so that's one of the big things. But we are going to be probably starting in 27. We'll start doing an annual educational platform.
That's awesome. Well, I think the one-on-one is actually better, especially that you are a practitioner, which makes the
Yeah.
difference. So you have the clinical experience and application, and you probably had a need for these formulas in your own practice, which you were missing something, right?
Yeah, that's kind of some of these ones I'm creating. I'm like, oh, these are kind of selfish products for me because I'm like, I wish I had this product, but I get it. This is a business, so companies also want to be able to provide. They're creating SKUs as well. They got to create more SKUs because they're a business. Me, I don't really care about the SKUs. I want to create the least amount of products that are impactful. And as a practitioner, I appreciate that more because I'll pay a little bit more if that means I can buy one product instead of two.
Sure.
Um, and have as good or better of a result.
Yeah, and it looks like your products have like therapeutic level dosing. So,
Everything is therapeutic level dosing. These will move the needle. Like I want to also make sure that when you're running blood panels and I know there's a lot of docs probably listen to this they run blood panels, but they also run, other panels through like companies like Vibrant Wellness, where they're running these toxin panels and these mycotoxins and heavy metal, environmental toxin panels. You want to be able to see that needle move. And so that you have to have that therapeutic dosing
yeah,
to really make that do
absolutely.
it.
So, what was your specialty when you were in practice?
Mostly thyroid, yeah, thyroid, autoimmune thyroid, and
These products were initially developed. What was the first product that you developed?
the nanoglut B, which is
Okay.
or it's a nanoglutathione with a methylated B complex in there. So it's a great product for MTHFR patients as well as liver support, as well as detox support. So you have multiple applications for how you'd use it. Um, and but the first one I developed that I'm like, I would have had this in practice was the Tedca Max.
Okay.
Um, because that one, it had an inadvertent effect as well. I was developing it as a liver, gallbladder, kidney support product. And what I've also found is that people that do struggle with constipation, when they go on this product within a week and a half, they are normal. So an inadvertent which is not really inadvertent. I mean, bile flow is super important for digestion. So what we're seeing as well is now people are able to eliminate yet another product, which is a product that helps get their bowels moving. And so it's almost like for many people, it's a four-in-one product. It's a true organ drainage and organ support product.
Yeah. So you don't have a lot of SKUs, but you have very comprehensive therapeutic SKUs. And I think
Yeah,
it's kind of refreshing as a practitioner because if you walk into a brand that has 180 SKUs,
I don't
you're
know where to begin.
overwhelmed,
Yeah,
and you don't know where to start, to be honest. So you kind of just start with what you know. And I think it leaves a gap into unique formulas that you could potentially learn about. And I love some of your patented ingredients that I've never heard of before. So it was fun to go and take a look at your product line and research some of those. And wow, bringing new things to the forefront. So I know that we're a little short today because you have big plans to travel, but I just wanted to get maybe
Yeah.
some closing thoughts from you for the practitioners listening as to, why you think your product line is one that they should carry, add to their store, and also get a wholesale account with you, but also maybe, the mission for the practitioner as why you developed it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I really, it's this. I wanted to develop a clean product that people could trust. I wanted to develop products that have the best absorption technology. So you're getting that clinical dosing. You're actually utilizing it, and it's not expensive pee. And then clinical dosing was the other one. And great branding, solution based. So everything I create is solution based. We're not. You'll never see just an omega and that's not the discount. That's just not who we are. We're not just going to do a bunch of regular vitamins, minerals. We're really trying to develop some really awesome solution-based products. And our newest one we rolled out is our Total Tox Binder, which we called Total
Uh,
Tox Binder because it binds everything in the Total Tox panel from Vibrant. And so instead of having to buy 3 or 4 binders, you can buy one. But one thing that most people probably don't know about us is part of and this may be amazing, great for some people, other people they may not care. But one of the big things that we do, part of our product development process is before any formula is completed or approved and ready to put into production, the last stage of it is I send it out to there's multiple really large muscle testing clinics throughout the country. And I send these products out to them independently. And until I get the exact same feedback from each clinic independently, we
wow.
keep tweaking the formula. So the Total Tox Binder took me 9 months and multiple iterations. But that last iteration, I literally had every doc calling me back going, version 3, version 3. And without, they don't know who else is testing, but so we do use muscle testing as that last phase of our product development just to ensure that energetically these things are testing well. And plus we work with a lot of muscle testers as well. So that's probably one nugget. And that's probably one thing that I'm sure there's some companies do it, but most companies probably don't include that in their product development process.
Yeah, and yeah, the observational trials, no, they don't. So you're actually getting real market feedback from clinicians who are using it. And, looking at this total toxic binder, it's more of the synergy, I would say, of what you put in the product. It's not a huge label. What is it? One, two, three, four, five, six different ingredients here. So we got chlorella, psyllium husk, cilantro, shilajit, humic acid powder. So simple but effective and great
Cool.
price too, because some of these can get super expensive.
Yeah, now imagine if you had to go buy a product to bind mold, heavy metals, and environmental toxins, you're probably close to $200 with multiple products, right? Or if not over. And I think we're priced at $79. But I like how you did say the synergy because I did leave that out. That is a big part when I'm doing ingredients. I try
Mhm.
not to put overlapping. I try to keep things very synergistic. So, for example, in that product specifically, there are 3 ingredients in there that cross the blood-brain barrier. There's 2 ingredients in there that specifically bind in the GI. And then, we got like 4 in there that are systemic binders. And then
Mhm.
there's other things like there's a misnomer. A lot of people think cilantro is a heavy metal binder, and it's not. But what it does is it goes in and kind of knocks the metals off the cell,
Mhm.
making them more easily to be bound. And so that's one of the reasons that's in there to help, so fulvic acid can come in and chlorella can come in and scoop that stuff up. So yeah, everything is formulated in that synergistic effect. And I try to put the least amount of ingredients in there and have with the biggest benefit.
Yeah. And I just hope practitioners appreciate that because I don't think, I was in product formulation with a few brands and it was very eye-opening as a practitioner to be like, wow, there is a lot that goes in from just conception of the panel that you want to figuring out the therapeutic doses, to figuring out the synergy, the sourcing of the raw materials, the testing, and then if it's a powder or a liquid, like getting it to a point where people actually will do it because it tastes good. That's probably the hardest thing with powders, is to get them to compliancy where people won't be like, oh, this is terrible. It takes
Yeah.
a lot. And then how
Well,
many iterations of it there are. I mean, from beginning to end,
yeah.
it's probably 6 to 9 months before you actually get the product that you're going to launch.
Right. And then if you're trying to make it taste good, like, and stay natural still. And so, yeah, it does take a lot to get to there. I did work for, I won't say the company, but I worked for a really large, um, a very large MLM company, as their VP of nutritional education to come and help on with like products and formulations. And that was one of the things that was eye-opening for me when I came in, I started Aegis and I wanted to create products. Most people assume when they look at the ingredient that, oh, these are product people that are developing product scientists. So they assume people don't have any clue, and most doctors don't have a clue on the majority of ingredients in there and what the therapeutic dose really is.
Mm.
And so they're trusting that, oh, that's a good dose in there because you don't know. And what I found is that there's a lot of companies out there that do, you look at these formulations, you're like, oh, look how comprehensive this formula is. Look at all these ingredients. And then you go start looking at the dosing, you're like, they just pixie dusted it. There's just 1 milligram of it. And so it makes a label look real big and
Yeah, the
important.
label's real big. It's full of nothing.
But
Mhm.
it doesn't do anything because it's a bunch of pixie dusted ingredients. And so you think you're buying something and you're trusting that these scientists or these, product developers are putting in, an effective dose in there. And they don't realize that. And I think it gets people, they just from a marketing, oh, this looks so, look how much is in here. It's like, yeah, but you're, it's irrelevant. It's not doing anything.
Well,
So
an interesting story I had is I got called to consult on a new product launch for a big MLM company, probably one of the oldest and biggest. Just listening, and I didn't realize that the person that I was talking to wasn't the chief medical officer, wasn't a health, wasn't, it was the marketing director. And I stepped back, I was like, why am I talking to you? And she's like, well, I'm going to be the one that writes the content in the tech sheet. I was like, why are you writing the tech sheet? So it was really
that's
eye-opening.
pretty common,
I
actually.
know.
And they kind
And
of drive product development too and ingredients. And you're like,
yeah,
how are the doctors and scientists not the ones that are this is yeah, it was eye-opening to me. And so that kind of also shaped how I developed because of that.
it's really interesting. Product development is a whole thing. And I just don't think that practitioners realize how much goes into it. So we truly do appreciate what you've done in the industry. Thank you. Do you want to tell them what the name means? Does it actually mean like shield? Is that why you?
Yeah, yeah. Aegis is a Greek word for shield.
Mhm.
And so, we wanted to, be the shield for people's health. And so we're trying to develop products that do that. And I tell you what, the proof's in the pudding. When people take a product and they feel a difference, there's no better marketing than that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we stick to.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here. Guys, if you're listening and this conversation has shifted how you think about supplementation, it should, especially, for a product company that has put so much thought into everything that they're doing. So super appreciative of that. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Also, Aegis is available on the Get Healthy Store catalog, so you can go add those products today. They will be instantly available for you to sell through or script to your patients and clients. Also, don't forget to go visit their website, which are going to be in the show notes, so that you can set up a wholesale account as a practitioner. So, Dr. Watts, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.